All right. Peace and blessings, family. We are here. Reality Speaks. We at Conscious Head Barbershop, and it's the first episode what we call the real conversations of the barbershop. Now we say that because this is really the barbershop, and as you see us progress, we would actually be up here cutting hair. We also have different barbers that would actually be joining in, and different people in the community, different authors, different activists, different folks that'll be joining in with us with different perspectives that we'll have. We've been here for 23 years, and people have always said down in the barbershop, hey man, y'all need to go live with this, man. You need to record these things. Y'all need to sell this. You need to do this. You need to do that. So all through the years, I've been trying to figure out how to make this happen. We've done some things, but this is like really the first time that we actually really doing it. We've done some stuff up here before. We had we done some lives and things of that nature, but this right here segment is gonna be live. This is actually Conscious Heads Barber and Boot Camp upstairs from the barbershop. Conscious Heads Barbershop. So this is the live studio. This is where these events will be taking place. Every now and again, some will be taking place down inside of Conscious Head. Also, we will have. So we glad that you can join us here today. Spread the word. Tell some friends. This gonna be every even Wednesday or Thursday. So it'll be even Wednesday or Thursday night show that we'll actually do. And like I said, different people from the community will be joining us. So today, what we want to do, we want to focus on. We have our brother Senbi Akau here to join us here today. And right now, what we want to do is he's an author of a book of several different books. But this is the newest book, Superhero Syndrome, that we had. Can you zoom in on that, dear sister? Can you zoom in on this book?
I'm at the TV
now, now what we want to do is we got authors, and we here in Tubman City. We here in what they call Baltimore, but we call it Tubman City. Popular, came popular by Dr. Shaka Musabar Shango, made popular by Reality Speaks and Soul Vibers Nation and all those different people. You know what I'm saying? So, definitely. But we want to sell these books. We want y'all to get these books. This is a really good book. I have not, honestly, I'm gonna say, I haven't finished the book. Just started reading the book, but this brother,
on, man.
yeah, I know. I got to get it done. But I just started reading it though. You know what I'm saying? So but it so far it's a great read. Now this brother is, he's the co-founder of Survivors Nation, and he's a writer. He's always been the writer. He's the one that wrote up the most of the plans for Survivors Nation, most of the hardcore in-depth write-ups. I would kind of take the write-ups and do spin-offs of the write-off and of the write-up and things of that nature. And I would write some things, but he was the big writer to write the very intricate things. So I knew that one day he was going to go on to be author of different books and all, because that's who he is. He's always been that person. So now that's what we're going to do. Reality Speaks. We've been around for 28 years. It'll be our 28-year anniversary coming up. So we getting ready to get in these YouTube streets real heavy. We've been running this lecture series for 28 years, and now it's time for us to really get in these YouTube streets and still continue to do the lectures and the events. But we still got to get into these YouTube streets. So now we have Senbi Akau with us today, and we also join with Brother Kamal. Brother Kamal is the founder of the African World Study Groups, many different groups and organizations. But it's funny that these two brothers are sitting here with me today, because Brother Kamal, as we sit here in this
It's the
studio,
foundation. The foundation.
the
The
foundation,
foundation.
we sit
Yes.
here. My first interview that I ever did was with Brother Kamal, and it was on Just You and Me Talk Show with Mama and Zinga and Gotsi,
That's
Dr. Hudson.
peace
Dr.
be
Hudson,
upon him.
peace be upon
Peace and
both of
blessings.
them.
Peace to
And
them.
that was my first, and I was scared, man. I was scared. We was on, and we was actually promoting our group at the time called The Real, and he was promoting the African World Study Group at the time. So this brother has been very intricate, what I'm saying, in my life so far as when I'm coming into consciousness and building Survivors Nation and those different things. I would tell him when I was in his group, the African World Study Group, man, we need some young people. And then he was like, why don't you just start your own group? And I was like, I can't start no group. What you talking about? I ain't got no money. Like, you don't need money to start a group. You just need to do a flyer and then just give it out. So that's basically, what I mean. I met brother Senbi Akau. I met him at everyone's place when I was working at everyone's place. And I started recruiting for the group that brother me and Kamal was talking about. And so I'm like, man, when I meet people in here, when they come in here to buy some conscious books,
That's where I saw you.
Well, that's where we ran it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what. So going back,
everyone's place is the Mecca, man.
Everyone's place is definitely the Mecca. Yep. Definitely the Mecca. That's when I first started studying. I met him at everyone's place, but we got a history going back because this brother actually took my sister to the prom. Was it senior prom or the
no?
Junior?
She went to my prom.
She went to your prom. Yeah, your senior prom. Okay, right. So he went to the prom. So I knew of him from my sister, going to school with him. So that's how I knew this brother. And I think when we ran into each other, he was just talking. It was a funny story. My best friend at the time, and peace be to his, and to that brother. He joined the ancestors, in his 30s sometime. A good friend of mine, but he had just stolen his car.
No, he stole a car from the social services on Biddle.
Okay.
I was coming home.
Okay.
And him and his boy turned the car and ran right into my father's car.
Oh.
And I chased them down the alley, and they disappeared. I had my Slippy Earls on, my tie, my jacket, and everything.
I can remember that like vaguely, but I remember you being like, did you see? I can remember that. But wow.
That's funny.
Memories.
That's like 1990, 91, something like that.
Wow, 1991. All right. So I got history with both of these brothers. Like I said, I started. So I mean, it's all tied in together. How it all came about. So African World Study Group merged into the real Survivors Nation Reality Speaks. When I met this brother, we actually came together. We put those plans together for the Survivors Nation and Reality Speaks. So we got history in the building. Tubman City is in the building. I guess it's divine because even when I was thinking about even us coming together, I wasn't even thinking about the full circle, you know what I'm saying, and all of the history that's actually sitting in this room right now. So, so it's great to be with these brothers. But we're gonna have a discussion tonight. Again, the book is The Superhero Syndrome. And brother, let me introduce to you again. Let me just say, good brother, founder, co-founder of Survivors Nation, author, I think, of 3 different books. Four different books. Senbi Akau. Give him a big round of applause. Yeah.
Nah, definitely appreciate you, bro. Appreciate both of y'all. Big brother Kamal. He always a calm voice of clarity and wisdom. And we spar sometimes intellectually on some issues, but it's all love, always love and respect.
Iron sharpens iron, bro.
That's right. So this book, Superhero Syndrome, the perfect pressure, the pressure to be perfect. And it's about how in the society, there's pressure put on men. See, this book is for men. And it's pressure put on men to perform and to be perfect. Now, I'm not saying there's something wrong with pressure. Pressure is good, but it's how you respond to the pressure that's the key. Because we know that pressure can burst pipes, pressure can create diamonds. But the way that you respond to the pressure in life will determine if that pressure is good for you or not. And so what creates the superhero syndrome is when men are not prepared from the beginning as boys to respond to that pressure in a healthy way. Because in this society we know is based on competition. And competition deals with putting on appearances because you don't want to appear to be weak. You don't want your shortcomings to show. Just like in business, for example, you got to put on a good presentation. First impression is a lasting impression in business, right? But in the business of life, when we are basing our lives on competition, then that competition can end up corrupting those that are trying to win if they are preoccupied with winning. And so with that corruption may come certain character traits. So there's three components that the perfect pressure produces. And the first two, let's deal with, well, for one, we got the excessive one, what I call the excessive one. And that is also known as the dishonorable cheater. And then on the opposite polarity, we got the deficient one, which is the hiding coward. And then we have the authentic hero. That's the balanced one. The balanced one is the authentic hero. So I talk about these in the book, and then I give a solution to the superhero syndrome. You know, now I can elaborate unless you have some questions that you want to ask me.
No, but well, let's hold, and then we'll
Okay.
elaborate even more, because we're gonna do a lot around the book. This ain't the only time we're gonna do this. We're gonna do some one-on-one interviews. We're gonna do some other different things that we're gonna actually do. But I basically laid the foundation for brother Kamal. You know what I'm saying? So let's just give brother Kamal a big round of applause. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I mean? Those in the studio.
Woo, 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 woo,
Snap,
woo.
finger snaps.
Give
Woo,
thanks, Baba Kamal, African World Study Group, New African Ministries. I'm an illiterate farmer from the east side of Baltimore. Um, and so Senbi and I were talking about the different archetypes of manhood the other day. And in that conversation, we were coming from two different angles, really trying to address the same kind of issue. And the issue is what is need to provide a roadmap for Black men to be able to traverse this world in a meaningful, fulfilling, and healthy way. I assume, right? Healthy being
I
sort
mean,
of
I
the
agree.
center
I
point.
don't remember that being the topic.
Well, that was the topic. Well, we were coming from two different places. So I was coming from a more stereotypical archetype of what a man's role is,
okay.
and your archetype was different. It was, I'm not gonna say new age, but it was nuanced. It's a nuanced conversation. So we were talking about a man's role as husband and leader of the family, and I was again sticking more towards a traditional role of a man being the primary provider, primary being the word, primary provider and protector of the house. And I think you were a little, coming from a little different. I don't want to, color your interpretation of what I was saying, but what was your side of that coin in terms of?
Well, our conversation steered over to mainly the protector aspect and man being our responsibility being the protector. And I don't disagree with that at all. But what I was saying was it's just as much the woman's responsibility to protect the family and to protect the home as it is the man. And if we do not emphasize that and have that expectation, then that cheats women out of the opportunity to cultivate that aspect of themselves. And it weakens the security and safety of the family if the man is the only one that is trained and expected to protect. Women are very capable of protecting. In fact, that's natural. You look at any female species, they're the ones that set it off when it comes to protecting the children. And human women set it off as well when it comes to protecting the children. They would sacrifice their life for the children. In fact, they potentially sacrifice their lives by giving birth, first and foremost. Now, there may be different ways that we protect one another in different ways that we emphasize the protection, but it's just as much her responsibility as it is the man.
I agree. It is a woman's. I think both components of a balanced household, right, have they share responsibilities, right? I was simply saying that I think there's And for some reason, I'm thinking of like the Warrior King or I don't know, Black Panther, where we have women who are soldiers dressed up to, you know, assume a battle position, right?
Mhm.
And so, in my thought, that that is fantasy. That some of that is based in reality. We have had female warriors previously, but that should not be what I think the primary focus of what a black family should be. I think we want to train our women, daughters, sons, all in how to be proficient in weaponry, how to exercise, a little bit of grappling skills, martial arts, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, everyone should have that kind of basic kind of training. But I think as focus for men, right, in general, the focus of a man should be able to take that lead primarily. And if the man is incapacitated, clearly the wife, the children can take up the role later. But primarily, we should be focusing men on being in control of their emotions and being able to defend, protect, and lead. Does that mean that the man has to do everything? No, right? And I think that's something that's the nuance I was talking about. Does that mean that the man has to do everything? No. It means that he's responsible for it. Doesn't mean he has to do everything. Meaning such, if I mean you're blessed with several sons, right? And in the event that you were incapacitated, you would have trained your sons in how to defend the household in your stead, and then your daughters and such. But you take the primary role, and I would take the primary role as a man, and especially in teaching to make sure people are capable. But I don't think we want to have a legion of our women potentially thinking that their responsibility primarily is to protect a household. If in fact the man is incapacitated, yes, she should know what to do. But I don't think that should be the focus of how we should, because the value, Minister Netanyahu said 20 years ago that the value of the woman value has been taken out of this world, right? And so this culture values the male principle so much that the feminine has no place to be. So now we want our women to be men because we value that male principle so much. And no, I think women should be women, men should be men primarily.
So you disagree? You disagree with his premise?
No, I don't disagree with his premise at all. I'm expanding the paradigm a little bit. Let me ask you this, and you'll find that we really agree more than we disagree.
We do.
Count on your hands how many times you had to physically protect your house from an intruder or some type of physical danger.
Okay.
No, I'm saying count.
Well, I mean, my house has gotten broken into, right? My truck has gotten broken into. So when you talk about those things, I think it's more times than we think. I think it's also when you walking down the street and if your wife had to walk down the street by herself, or my wife had to drive home in the snow by herself, there are lots of times that I've had to literally defend my household, but it's not a burglar coming in the door. We don't want to look at it like that. There's so many other ways that you protect the women around you.
Exactly.
It's not this big hero thing. It's the fact of the presence of a man. When a man comes to date my children, my presence there protects my children. So, like you said, it's not the big aggressive, thug thing that is a protection of womanhood and family. It's a simple presence of manhood.
So basically, you don't really have much experience with having to physically engage another man.
We have been blessed.
Okay, all right.
Good decisions.
I'm going somewhere with
to
this.
not have to be violent.
I'm going. That's what I'm talking about.
Let me.
I'm going somewhere with this. All right.
Right.
So, but you can probably think of, like you just laid down some examples of other ways to protect, your presence, conscientiousness, when walking out in the street. Now, there are things that women do and can do to protect the family if the intention is there. She knows that is part of her job. And mothers do it automatically. You don't got to make them do it. They do it automatically. They are protectors. Okay. It's not no order of first protector, second protector, they protect. Now, when it comes to, you know, an intruder in the house, yeah, you're going to engage that first. But that's why I asked you how many times you actually had to do that compared to how many times you had to protect the family mentally, which she does as well, with consciousness, or teach the children how to carry themselves, which she does as well, for protection, and even how to carry herself and be aware of her environment. You see? Now, some, you know, people are different. You got some women that are very on point naturally, and you got some women that may not be on point naturally. Then they have to be, you know, trained, taught. Those are the ones you gotta, you know, let know. But when you communicate as a family, when you have a family, these discussions should happen anyway. You know, okay, what should we do in case of such and such and such and such? You know, so all I'm talking about is both of us present with knowing that we have the responsibility equally to protect the family on every level. So as men, my thing is we be thinking a lot of times or speaking like we got to do all that. And it's our responsibility to be the protector, to be the provider. And sometimes our ego get us in trouble because if we are not that, sometimes we may feel like our manhood is being challenged. When the very fact of the matter is, it is woman's nature to protect the family just as much as it's ours. Probably more so. We the ones that probably got to be more cultivated than they do when it comes to that, because they have more of the motherly instinct.
Here's what I mean by that. Here's what I mean by that.
Hold on.
You mean cat?
So let me say,
Cat.
You mean cat?
Cat.
What is cat?
Lacks courage, courage, aspiration, and truth.
Not at all.
It's the mother
Disagree. Not
side.
at all.
Hold on.
Not at all.
But as we go on, because we get to the heat, and you know, they will sometimes have some of these exchanges on Facebook, and I know sister put up what's wrong with men without throwing shade, and that was like 2 days ago,
It's a troublemaker,
and I think right, and I think the Senbi answered nothing, and then Kamau answered, you know what I mean, some was something.
We got to deal with women. That's what's wrong with
Yeah. We got to deal. We have to deal.
That's cat.
That was a joke.
We got to deal with women, and then I think
was it a joke for real?
It's a joke. Oh, yeah, I'll be cracking jokes.
But then it was and then the next, I think yesterday, Sister Boomer, she asked, what's wrong with men? No, what's wrong with
and she asked what's wrong with
women? Yeah, and then some people responded, and then Senbi responded, nothing. And then that kind of got a conversation.
And he said lies to that.
Lies.
Right. Now can y'all both expound on, you know what I'm saying, that might exchange on Facebook, I guess.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, first of all, he said lies when I said nothing was wrong with women, but he ain't say lies when I said nothing was wrong with men.
Nope.
You know, so to me, that's the same thing that men complain about women doing, because women usually blame stuff on the men and saying that we the ones with the problems, and we complain about that, and we complain about them not being accountable. But he did the same thing that women do.
Them is jokes, bro. Them is jokes.
He taking me serious, man.
But then I elaborate a little bit. And so what I'm trying to promote, right, is a call to manhood to be resumed. I think the world right now is trying to blend too many things. People don't want to have gender roles. People don't want to have accountability. It's like whatever is whatever. Like I can do anything. Yeah, you might be able to do everything, but I think for our society, one, we have the right to agree on how we want our society to be. Doesn't have to be for everybody, right? We have the right to choose, and that's just, that culture can be 3 families. It does not have to be the entire world. You know, I gave up on saving the whole world long time ago. I'm trying to save something, primarily with myself and my family. So we have the right to create whatever our culture we want it to be. And so the culture that I want to create is a culture where we have a balanced family where the feminine principle and the male principle are balanced and complementary, where one is not greater than the other. So yes, a woman does protect. My woman has protected me by being my most wise counselor, by saying, Kamal, maybe we shouldn't go this way.
Yeah,
She sees things I don't see.
exactly.
Right? I may be looking at a broad picture, but she sees the details.
Exactly.
Maybe you shouldn't go into business with this man. So yes, women protect.
Then why are we always saying men are the protectors?
Because
then?
I'm talking about a different kind of protection.
Then you should specify.
My primary role is to think of when I'm a man in something, I am securing things. I want to make sure that there's no threats coming on. I don't want my woman to worry about that. I pride myself. All right. I'm a lover, not a fighter, right? Women love me. They love me because they say they always feel safe with me. They feel secure with me. And it's something about my chi, my stature, whatever it is, but they feel safe because that's the way I carry myself. I carry myself in a manner that if you are with me, you're protected. And you know me, I'm not no thug, no gangster or whatever. I'm just me. But I care for those things that are in my circle and in my cipher as a responsibility for me. And it's just who I am and how I am. It's not an aggressive thing.
It's beautiful.
Right? It's not an aggressive thing. So I know you talking about men want to be ha rah. It's not.
No,
just,
I'm not talking
no,
about
I mean that is the false manhood. That is part of a paradigm where people assume they have to be a certain way to literally protect, but that's really not it. It's really trying to secure to make sure the people that you're looking out for, that you're charged to care for, are safe. And so for me, my primary threats are, I mean, they're basic because now I want to make sure my children, if they get broke down on the road, they got, the AAA, if they're out late, I got to make sure the lights always run the house. So the security principle is something that's basic in man. I don't think it's necessarily always about having a gun and being violent. It's a theory. Whereas a woman's theory would be, have you had something to eat? Have you had a plate of food? Have you had some rest? Have you had some medicine? Like to feel innately how your health is internally. And again, there's overlap in those things, but primarily, I would like to promote manhood where we assume that responsibility. Not that we got to do everything again, but we take that primary role in saying, okay, I'm going to make sure things are secured. Baby, you make sure everybody's good. Loosely sort of a kind of thing. And of course, it overlaps. But primarily in the culture that I would like to create and promote, that's what men do. Primarily also because if we want to propagate and grow this community, we need children. And there's a period during life where women are not able to defend themselves. They're with baby, they're with children. And I think we should own that period. Like that, you know what I mean? There's like 15, 20 years where a woman is, if she's got a watoto on the breast and one here and she's got one in the belly, ain't too much fighting she can do. She's defenseless. And in this world we live in, where violence by some is the only thing they know, we have to be willing to sacrifice ourselves and take that primary role, I believe, as the first principle of our man.
So Senbi, so when he said protector, do you believe that the man is supposed to be the protector, like primary? Do you think that, or you think that it's the man and the woman? No, you don't think that the role of the man is to be the protector?
I think that that's one of the roles of a human being. And as a man, form fits function. So yeah, I agree with what Kamal was saying about those security measures and making sure everyone's secure. I'm not saying that the man don't do that.
Right.
But I want to caution us from this woman or the weaker vessel mentality that will discourage us from making sure that they're on point security wise and being able to protect and having that spirit, that warrior spirit of protection, because we've been programmed to see women as being weak. But women are warriors, but on certain different levels. They may not be the one to go head up fisticuffs versus another man, but they got that spiritual energy, that spiritual power like Kamal said, his wife has saved him and protected him from certain things by which she sees and feels. So if we acknowledge that she's a protector too, but she may do it in a feminine way,
Right.
that don't mean that we are more of the protector. She protects, and that attitude need to be there. Just like the woman provides, but she may provide in another way.
So then you back to talking about roles. So I mean, the thing is, so do you believe that? Okay, so this. Do you believe that the man is the head of the? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, everybody got roles, and we talk about, her in a spiritual sense, and she, if he's, my mother used to always say, in her phrase, if the man is the head, then the woman is like the neck. And I don't know if you agree with that statement. You know what I'm saying? In general, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
We can be poetic with the way we say different things.
Right.
That don't matter. But what's the reality? And the reality is it's two heads in a relationship and in a household. Meaning she got a full brain, a right and a left hemisphere of the brain, and so does he. And it's up for that couple to decide how to optimize their interaction to make their family work. But we get in trouble when we try to create these fixed roles that say, I need to be doing this because I'm a man, and you need to be doing this because you're a woman. But what if she's better at doing that quote unquote man role than you, and you're better at doing that quote unquote woman role than her? Are y'all flexible enough to give each other the space and the grace to do what their strength is? Or are we going to forever butt heads because we are ego in what we think roles supposed to be?
So do you disagree with the structure of your grandfather or your father? I mean, because pretty much that's what kind of.
I don't disagree. It wasn't the structure of my grandfather or my father. It was the structure of my father and my mother in agreement. Okay, my father on the surface had the strong exterior presentation, but my mother, which I learned after I got older, had that wisdom that was quiet, speaking to him away from everybody. Okay, he wasn't like leading the family in a way of making all the decisions without her. They were and still are together making decisions, and they've been married over 50 years, 53 years.
No question. Where do you get the concept that a man being head of the household means he makes all the decisions? Where'd that come from?
Well,
I didn't say that that's what that means. But a lot of people say that's what that means. They act like that, and they speak like that, and they say, she need to submit, and I need to lead. And the attitude and the energy is like, it's like it's kind of diminishing her wisdom and her leadership capability.
But there is the nuance in that, right? The nuance in that is, yeah, she should submit, yeah, he should lead, but that doesn't mean he doesn't listen to her, right? So in my role,
then why are we talking like that then?
Because it is real. It is real. Example.
So he shouldn't submit.
Example. Y'all know I'm a businessman, right? I run businesses and I supervise, manage a lot of people on a lot of important things. A lot of people that make a lot of money and they're brilliant. Mm-hmm. But I am their leader, right? Mm-hmm. I decide the pace of what happens. I decide the priorities of the group.
You're a business owner, right?
No, I'm a senior leader, right?
Okay.
So what that means is I have people above me that say these are what the priorities are. I can't tell them, yo, that's not what we should be doing right now. That is a division of labor that we instill trust in people that have a higher position. It doesn't mean we're less valuable. Doesn't mean we're less important.
So as a man, your position is higher than the woman.
As a man, my position is different than the woman.
But you use that higher example just now of nobody questioning that higher position.
No, it's not as in questioning. It's as in role. It's as in role.
So yes, is the man's role above the woman?
You see, this is the nuance. This is the nuance. When it comes down to a final decision, right? Yes, a wife should allow a husband to have that final say.
with everything.
See, that's when you have a tyrant. See, we always throw these wild cases of tyranny in there. And if a man is a tyranny, you could go back to the lessons of Ptahotep, and it teaches you how to keep a woman in your house, fill her belly, be nice with her, anoint her hair. Never has African life been about tyranny. It's always been a partnership. However, when it comes down to the final thing, that man has a say. Why? Because ultimately he is responsible for it. Because if I take my wife from her family, I am responsible to make sure she's successful, that the family is successful. Does that mean I have all the responsibility? No. But I'm looking at it as a man and what my commitment is to her father, because her father is entrusting her with me, right?
Mhm.
Just like as a grown A man, I asked my father at 29 years old if I could marry my wife, right? This East Baltimore dude. Why did I do that? Because ultimately I knew that if I screwed something up, I could always go back to Beryl Avenue. I could always go back to my father's house.
Mhm.
So I had to give him that respect. So it's not about tyranny. It's about allowing a person that ultimately is going to be the one to make this whole thing work, giving them, allowing them to have that right to make those decisions.
Mhm.
And I think if a woman chooses a man and a man chooses a woman properly, that they'll never ask something of the other that they won't be able to fulfill. So this whole
That
this
sound good.
no, that's because
That
you
sound
as
good.
you say, we have some egotistical brothers and sisters out here who are running off of ego, not looking at what's best for the group, but always thinking about me, 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 me. And that's not what a good leader does, because a good leader understands what skills and talents everybody in the group brings,
Mhm.
and they effectively appoint those people to maximize their skills. That's what a good leader does.
Mhm.
Good leader isn't a tyrannical, fool. He's utilizing the resources to their best efforts, and sometimes it takes not having question
Mhm.
in order to maximize things. And it takes turns. For instance, with Mama Kepra, when it comes to health issues, well, she say it goes. I
Okay, so
never
that she leading in that area.
exactly, but that was a negotiated thing. And like
Isn't it always?
when it came to schools, she always let me do all the school stuff. You know what I mean? So, but if I
She
said,
allows
but
you to.
exactly, it's an allow. But if I said, this is what we doing, this is what we was doing, and it wasn't a bad thing because she married a man that she trusts.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because I had it. When she was able to take off work and have the babies and stay home for 6 months, I had to make it happen. And so, since I was going to be able to fulfill that part of what our negotiation was,
Mhm.
she gave me that. She gave me that thing.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah. And so it's
that's
a
beautiful.
negotiation. Like we can't. Brothers have, in order to have, what's the Spider-Man joint? With great power comes great responsibility.
Mhm.
To be a leader means you're a servant. That means you're the last one to go to sleep.
That's my point.
Right.
We can't approach this leadership thing out of ego. And when you add in words like a negotiation, okay, it's not a dictating.
No, it's not a
It's not a
dictation. It's not a
dictatorship.
dictator.
But he
Okay,
also
but the leader is the one who, yeah, I'm going to make myself accountable to making sure that we got things in place and that things are managed. Like you said, delegating responsibility. You don't have to do everything, but trust and believe that your leadership is something that's given over to you by your wife. It's something that she's
She's
allowing,
allowed, yeah, because a woman can always leave, and that's like I said,
right?
that's been part of
And she and
African,
she and she can rebel.
right, and that's part of African
So yeah,
tradition for
yeah,
thousands
it
of
has to
years.
be something.
Right.
The one in leadership position has to be trusted.
Right.
But at the same time, you're not the leader if there's certain aspects that she led. You're not the only leader.
Right.
She led what you said, diet, the health,
When
the
it comes
health.
to yeah.
She okay.
Yeah.
So she leads that, and that's my only point. That she needs to be able to exercise, because we can say leadership is a masculine energy, but we all have masculine and feminine energies within us. She needs to have the opportunity to exercise that muscle for her complete full development.
But he said, but he also said when it come time to put his foot down and make a decision, boom, that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And, you know what I mean? So I'm just saying, do you agree with that? You know what I mean? Like what he said, like, you know what I mean? Like, look, boom, we ain't, it's your role, it's your role. But if a decision got to be made in a hurry, like this what we doing, boom.
because sometimes it in the feminine nature, right? Generally, they are trying to care for a larger group, and
Mhm.
sometimes the feeling, people's feelings, become the primary focus sometimes
Mhm.
of
Mhm.
what your wife is focused on, and it's sometimes fuck feelings. It's not about feelings.
Mhm.
We gotta go, and
Right.
so that's sometimes when you gotta
Right.
you like. I give you an example, and Mama kept might be mad at me for this. We were going to North Carolina for Thanksgiving to be with her family, right? So we got this big 15 passenger van, and we were going to North Carolina. We were supposed to leave at 10 o'clock, right? Her mother's waiting, her aunt's waiting, cousins waiting, everybody waiting on Pepper. So she was not ready. 8 o'clock, not ready. 9 o'clock, not ready. 10 o'clock, not ready. 1 o'clock, not ready. I said, if we don't leave this house by 12 o'clock, I'm not going. The reason why is she's asking me to travel to bum neck part of North Carolina that I don't know in the wintertime. I can't. You first of all, you can't hold the whole family hijacked, right?
Mhm.
Because of whatever reasons.
I agree.
Because we've been traveling, we've been planning this for a week,
I agree.
and that's what I had to do. I
Right.
had to be like, no, I'm not going.
But they ain't got nothing to do with being a man.
It does have something to do with it. It has
Because
to
she
be-
can do
he
the
made a
same thing with a
decision.
different
it had to
subject.
be decision. Like you're
She
not
can
gonna
do the
have.
same
You're not
thing.
gonna have. But she doesn't. That's what I'm saying. No, but
Meaning it could be a different subject.
It could
Like,
be a different
you could be
subject.
doing something that is like really inconveniencing her, and she putting up with it, and then she give you all look. You keep doing that, then such and such is gonna happen.
right.
And then if you care, have any respect for her, you're gonna take that in consideration and you're gonna make that adjustment. It's about the trust that you have for the person that's putting their foot down, and the respect that you have for the person that's putting their foot down. It ain't got nothing to do with being a man or being a woman. It's being an adult that's respecting another adult. And it has to make sense. Because if you can put your foot down to a bunch of bullshit that she sees that amounts to bullshit, and eventually, excuse my language, but fuck your foot. You know what I'm saying? But she trusts you because you demonstrate that your leadership and your decision making is sound. And she knows in her spirit, okay, yeah, I've been kind of taking too long and being inconsiderate. I submit. Okay. But it can be flipped and she do the same thing. And it's your job to submit to reason as well. Same thing. Just different gender doing it. Depends on the situation.
Yeah, that's true. It's different, but it's true.
See, what y'all want, y'all like this male ego. I'm putting my foot down. Boom. When I'm done, when it's done, it's done.
It's not
Put my
ego.
foot down.
It's not ego. If somebody is
She
coming,
can put her foot down too.
even though we talk about the number, how many times you've had to run to the door to save a woman's life, we've talked about that and really not being anything that any of us ever had to do. But we live in a very violent city. We
Right.
live in a very violent world.
Right.
So just because we have not done it does not mean that we won't do it.
Right.
And if I'm going to do it, damn it, you are going to do what I say because ultimately I'm going to die for you. And you're going
when
to
you say do what you say, what are you talking about?
That's the point. That's the point I'm trying to say. Even though it doesn't happen for the most part, if a man is willing to die and live for a woman and a family, they should be willing to allow him, willing to allow him, willing to allow him to leave. It's only fair. I mean, I get what you're saying. Everybody's responsible for freedom and blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, I don't think anybody's expecting somebody's crashing in the window. Nobody's sitting there waiting for that woman. Baby, you gonna go check that? Nobody's doing that, right? And the opportunity of that to really happen.
Let me ask you this.
You squeezing it down to actual physical danger when life is so huge. Way more than that. You're talking about if you're going to die for her in an incident of physical danger, then she should do what you say. Are you saying do what you say in that situation, or because you will sacrifice yourself for her, she should just do what you say? Period.
And I said she should allow. And another thing is war. Men go to war, and you saying men die all the time. In my industry, we die all the time. Men are out here building the roads. Did you see the post I made the other day with the guys walking the steel? It's called leading edge work, where we build everything in this world for these women. Oh, I'm telling you, I see it. I see people die on the construction sites, and you've been in the industry. You know what happens. Women aren't out there doing that stuff. They reap the benefits. They reap the benefit. And
what you mean?
And That's just part of
What kind? You see that?
That's part
And-
of, but that's their role. If they want to get pregnant, there's ways of
What
not
I'm
to
saying,
get
what
pregnant.
I'm saying, we making sacrifices on both ends.
Okay, let me ask you a question. I bet you, even though I don't have the statistical numbers for you, I bet you more people die in construction industry mining than women die in childbirth now.
I don't know. I don't
You don't know. But also men die by the tens of thousands in wars. Now, just because we live in a very
wars that men be
but
creating.
that's right now. We live in a very safe world the last 20, 30 years, where it's a volunteer army. But I keep telling people we got this fantasy of this whole one worldness, but the Jews were very successful in Germany. They were business owners and everything else. And so we sitting up here talking about male rules. No, we have a greater enemy we need to deal with because I still don't trust him. You can trust him all you want, thinking that this world is what it is, but we could just as easily be in gas chambers as the Jews were 70 years ago because we have not secured any amount of independence. And now our women are out here out of control.
That's more the reason.
The women are out here out of control. They don't think they need us. It's just screwball.
So when you say
we've got to establish some structure.
When you say out of control, what do you mean out of control?
Out of control, like it's just out of. I mean, you see it. The sex, the WAP, the everything. It's like it's just crazy.
This is crazy that you're gonna say out your mouth. Women are out of control.
No,
if men ain't out of control.
But also, let me put it in perspective. We created this monster because 20, 30 years ago, when hip hop came around, it was all a bunch of D's and H's, and we was throwing money out, whatever it was.
It was out of control.
We created this culture, right? But now we got
the men created the
men. Because now the women are just as foul as the men.
They reflected, like you said.
They reflected. So we created it. Luke and everything. We did it, but that don't mean we got to stay in it. That don't mean I can't acknowledge it. Yeah, we always know the brother's out of control. We got too many people in jail. We got too much violence. We got too much crime. Now, the other day I watched something where the gangbangers in Florida are killing mothers.
So
like they killing each rapper's mother.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So if we created it, why are we complaining about the women and instead of focusing on what we need to do?
Because we've been complaining about the brothers. That's the reason why the three of us are together. We are together because 20 some odd years ago, we wanted to create.
But we ain't resolved it.
I don't know what you did, but your family looks pretty successful. Your family looks pretty successful. My family's pretty successful. So we have done something.
I ain't say we ain't do nothing. We're talking about collectively.
Right.
Here. We ain't resolved it. Yeah, now you want to talk about the individuals.
No. What did I say when I come in? I'm not trying to save the whole world. I'm gonna start with my family. And so the fact that we know collectively in this group that we have raised the level of Baltimore City because of the efforts that we've done over the last since 1990. What was it, 94?
Then why you crying about women being out of control? Because if our circle of women ain't out of control.
I don't know. I'm already focused on manhood. I've taken an oath to certain things in manhood, right? Mm-hmm. That I'm committed to. So I've got that under control. But we're here talking now about the role of a family. And from my perspective, what I've witnessed is that a certain aspect of our community is out of control. Again, not just the men out of control, because that's been par for the course for the last 30 years. Mm-hmm. But now the women are out of control. And so what I'm calling is for men to become men, right? To have our own way we see the world and how we move in the world. And then by providing that proper leadership, right? The women that we choose or the women that will come to us will benefit.
So what does that mean for both of y'all to define for men to be men? Because that's where it's a confusion, you know what I'm saying? So far as like, because you got a perspective on how it should be done. But for men to be men, what does that mean for you? And then what does that mean for you?
Look, I'm not saying that Kamau is incorrect, but what I'm saying is if you expect everybody to get on the same page with this is the way men should be and this is the way women should be, that ain't never gonna happen.
And what did I say? I'm not trying to save the world, right?
But we talking about the collective. Ain't you talking about the collective?
I said the kind of culture that I would like to create. It ain't got to be for everybody. That's clear. I'm clear. I'm not trying to save the world.
But what should men be? I'm trying to get like what is, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Because we used to have, different sayings about what is a man? You know what I mean? A man is an intelligent being. You know what I mean? So what does that look like? What should men be doing right now to take back the throne, if that's what it is? You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. What should we be doing?
It's Du Bois and Booker T. It's just options. That's all.
Take,
That's all
I mean,
I'm saying.
we gotta take responsibility and accountability to what we put into the world and what we give. Don't just be takers, but contribute and stand on principles of self-cultivation. We got to elevate our mindset, elevate our consciousness, and elevate our behavior so that it contributes to the healing and the upliftment of the family and the community. And women need to do the same thing. So it ain't really much of a differentiation when it deals with, okay, I got to be a responsible, accountable individual. I got to have a level of consciousness, and I got to raise myself above the levels of dysfunction that we're experiencing. I got to respect myself, respect others, respect women. Everything I'm naming is nothing exclusive to men. We think these gender roles are so different. We both need to be respected, and we both need to respect one another, and we both need to be respected. Talking about males and females. It's a fundamental human need. You know, we got to start with respect.
Some would say that women prefer to be loved and adored than to be respected.
All right, well, disrespect them and see how far they go.
I don't know, but I'm not saying disrespect.
Respect it.
Do you want to be loved or respected?
Respect.
Do you want to be loved or respected?
I'm both. It's not. You can't really separate. There ain't no love without respect. It ain't no respect without love.
Without respect.
It ain't no. It ain't no love without respect.
Do you love the law?
Do I love the law?
Or do you respect the law?
I love and respect lawfulness. Laws are designed to protect people. Me and you and us in our organization, we can have laws. But if you're talking about, what quote unquote what white man's laws, where there's so many contradictions and it's confusing and it's not fair, that's not law. That's bullshit.
It's law,
If
right?
That's their rule.
If you are hungry, you will not go out. You will not go out and break in somebody's door to take the food that they have because of law. Because you know.
No, I won't do that because of respect.
Not you per se, but people per se. People respect law. They don't love law because there are consequences to it. So as a man, my primary motive should not be love.
If you develop my thing, love is understanding. Love is the highest level of understanding. I ain't talking about no romance. I'm talking about having an understanding of what's what and allowing that which you understand to be what it is. That's love. I'm not talking about no romantic attachment. So when you deal with that definition of love, respect is intertwined with that.
I don't know, man.
What's your definition of love? What kind of love you talking about?
Well, there's love where I have obligation, and there's love the amour, there's the love of the heart.
What love are you talking about in this instant?
We talking about man and woman, so I was thinking about romantic love.
I ain't talking about romantic love.
What we talking about relationships?
You asked me if I love the law. Am I going to love the law romantically?
I don't know. Exactly.
Now, look, I'm trying, but really, I really want to get to. Because I'm seriously. I mean, because there's a lot of conversation. In a perfect world? What does this man coming back up? You know what I'm saying? What does this man do so these new relationships that we need to reform or put back together? Should we revisit the old school the way our grandfathers used to do it? I mean, is it bringing back around? Did that work for us? Or, you know what I'm saying, are we trying to bring that back? What does that look like for the man? And I'm coming back to you. I'm just trying to see exactly what does that look like.
So, I mean, again, everybody's different. When I reflect on my grandparents, yes, it worked.
Okay.
It worked. It worked. Now, unfortunately, I did not meet my maternal grandfather. He had gone on before I was born. But I can see it in the sons that he raised, my uncles. My uncles were very responsible men. They were loving men, but they were very forthright. If one of my cousins got out of line, the uncles were there to put them back in line, right? So I see, man, nothing in this world is done without sheer will, right? So Malcolm talked about history being, what's the line he said about what's the line? History has proven itself to be that thing, right? We have to learn from history, right? So what I see from history is if we do not with sheer will, create the world that we want, we will be in somebody else's vision of what the world should be.
Yeah, like we are right now.
Right. Like we are right now. And so I think there's a space for the 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 the, the dual balanced type of relationship. I do, right? But then I also think there's a space for a man that wants that wants to beat on his chest and like I'm a man. Like testosterone is real.
No, I agree with that.
Like chemicals are real. Estrogen is real. These these chemicals in our that make up a man make us forget about emotion and act. Like we need to nurture that in a meaningful way. Like right now,
I agree.
God boys are out here doing crazy stuff because they value the wrong things. So I believe, right, what I would promote as manhood is ultimately being responsible for basically the protection, provision, and growth and development of those that you're charged with. And we do that by going inside, figuring out who we are, right? And understanding what we bring to the world, and then those that are around us, you know, how we can help to nurture those things. Like a man is also like a farmer, like he's a shepherd. He you know you plant the seed, you nurture, you do what you got to do. And I think actually that's crazy, but you know, farming kind of helped me understand like how things are in nature. Like when I see these plants grow, when I see these the chickens, the pecking order, and what the rooster does to in the chicken coop, like it's like the rooster will die to protect his hens. That's his whole role. He'll go find a little worm in the ground. He'll call to the hens. The hens get to eat the food first, right? And he always has his eye to the sky, making sure that no hawks are coming down to eat those birds. But what he also does is he run that shit. Like that's his job. And now when I look at nature and other animals that are charged with protection, they do that. And I would wish we did live in a world where Homo sapiens were all altruistic and lived happily ever after. But I think we're in a very precarious situation where I think we need to be in a defensive mode and a mode where we get our children and family away from this sick American culture. The food is bad, the air is bad, the water's bad. You can't do anything. You can't harvest rainwater. They want to lock you up for harvesting rainwater. You know what I mean? We've got to think in a more broad way. And I think to answer your question, I would literally have to think about that and write that down. Like, because that's deep. You know what it takes to be a man, but it is not not having a position in terms of what roles. I think there definitely needs to be some gender roles. There's always room for negotiation because we don't want to raise tyrants, but it is being responsible again for the community. Same thing we've been saying for 30 years or more now.
Yeah.
But all this conversation was, and it came out in my speech, is that now the thing that still used to have a little bit of sacredness is just as foul as we are. And it's like, whew, now we really got to get this under control because now it's like lost. Like even the women are lost.
A nation can rise no higher than its woman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Senbi, in the perfect world, what does this manhood look like? You know what I'm saying? When you got a household, what does manhood look like inside that household? What you know what I mean? What is the man? What should the man be doing in the household? Does he make the final decision? Does he, you know what I'm saying? Like what you know what I mean? Like we doing this. I mean, what does that look like?
The man, like I was saying, I got in here the 9 positions of manhood.
Okay.
Okay. And as men, we have to cultivate each of these 9 positions. You got the warrior, you got the healer, you got the builder, you got the communicator, you got the monk, you got the leader, you got the hunter, you got the I think that's all of them. Then you deal with the self. So if you think of a 8-point diagram, like a 8-pointed star, each of the ones I named is 1 point on a star, and the center is the self. You need to be cultivating and exercising all of those in one way or another. Okay, and so I define them and explain them in this book. And you need to be cultivating the 9 elements of movement and functionality, which is speed, balance, flexibility, endurance, rhythm, coordination, etc. There are mental components and physical expressions of these elements. Okay, so what does it look like? Well, if a man is cultivating these 9 positions, he's communicating mindfully with the wife and the family. And if he's playing a hunter position, he's on the hunt for whatever finances, etc., resources that the family needs. If he's cultivating his warrior, he's being a warrior and a protector of the family. If he's cultivating a healer, he's trying to restore balance and maintain balance within the family, within the household, and so on. If he's being a monk, he understands the spiritual plan and purpose of everybody in the household, and he helps to with the woman devises a plan of self-cultivation so that everybody's purpose is being fulfilled. And so on. If he's a builder, he's focused on making progress. To build is to add on. But he's also cultivating, whatever type of trade skills and building skills, because he wants to train himself to be a thrivalist, not just a survivalist, but a thrivalist, and so on. He's cultivating the leader aspect, the leadership, being a good manager of the energy, and taking responsibility to make sure and accountability to make sure that the family is on point. He's also, that's the one I left out, he's also a student, constantly studying and learning himself and whatever he needs to study and learn to be able to apply any of these things that are necessary for the family. And so my ideal vision for the man in the household is to be constantly cultivating and expressing these things. It's never nothing to do. There's always something to do, and he can be creative with it. Also, I have in this book 11 social directives, but I emphasize the first 3 of them. One of them being celebration and appreciation, the other one being creative play, laughter, and fun, and the other one being higher consciousness and vibrations. Constant creation raises vibration. And so as men, we need to be celebrating our manhood. We need to celebrate and appreciate ourselves and one another so that we don't get undermined. Like, Mother's Day get all the attention, but how Father's Day is an afterthought. But we need to celebrate each other. We need to get together and celebrate and big up each other for just being here on this planet as men and whatever we contribute. Okay? Because I believe that when you do that, that's going to encourage you, give you energy to keep improving. But if it's never a celebration and acknowledgement of you just as a man and what you bring to the table of life, then you kind of going to end up getting drained. You're going to feel discouraged and you're going to get resentful. But we got to take our responsibility on ourselves to celebrate one another. And then creative play, laughter, and fun. That is the attitude that you approach work. I call work a willing offering of to willingly offer reflective kinetics. Reflective being mindful, kinetics being motion, making mindful movements. That's work. Okay. So I have in here the ideal of what men should be. And none of this depends on a woman falling in line and acting how she's supposed to act, because she got to cultivate hers as well, her archetype, But yeah, I don't want to speak too long about that. But go ahead.
You say falling, so you working on that, and then she working on something else. I'm just saying, like, I guess it's still the thing of, what I'm saying. I guess, I mean, everybody got different roles, different things. But when it comes to, like, when he's saying it's that decision, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And I mean, say somebody did come in the house, or somebody's threatening. Somebody got to grab that gun and go shoot the gun.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, who should be the first one to pick up that gun?
I mean,
should it be the man or should
definitely.
it be the woman?
Definitely the man.
And why should it be the man and not the woman?
Because I'm a man, and that's what I'm gonna say. You see?
Isn't that ego though?
Yeah, partially.
Okay. Ego has
I'm going.
That's exactly my point. Ego has a purpose.
Yeah, but I'm admitting it's ego.
Right.
I'm not fronting like it's.
But
not
it has
ego.
a purpose. That's what
you know what I'm saying. But I want to. Yeah, I want to be the first one to protect. Like I'm saying, I'm not denying that. I'm just saying with this label of the protector,
but
it
would that
pushes
run
women
into some
aside.
people argument because you are, for the most part, stronger than the woman. You know what I'm saying? And you pose the best defense. You know what I'm saying? At that particular time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. For that, yeah.
All right.
But my only point was that's not the only way to protect.
Right.
In that instant, yeah.
Right.
But in a different instant, she can exercise some protection capabilities as well.
And he's saying that
and she should know how to defend the house and the family because she might have to help me.
Right.
Whoever come through, they could overpower me.
Yeah.
She gonna, just be all docile in the corner and just be a victim, or she gonna bring the warrior spirit out of her and jump on his back.
Line of defense. I mean, I'm just saying. And she just do what she got to do. But he was saying sometimes being a protector is shoveling the snow outside. You know what I'm saying? Protecting the house. You know what I'm saying? Like going out, making sure nobody falls on the ice. You know what I'm saying? Getting out there. You know what I'm saying? Like doing those things. Taking out you know what I'm saying? When it comes to showing strength. You know what I'm saying? And different things. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying because that's a part of the big argument that people have. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? So.
No, women don't have no problem.
Some women are
with
saying
men taking out the trash.
Yeah, they don't.
And shoveling snow. I don't think that's an argument. That ain't even no argument.
That's why I'm moving out the country. Get this snow. Joke.
But I'm just saying that's just part of the argument. You know what I mean? That some women just think that, you know what I'm saying, like, shoot. Some like, man, I do all of that.
Look, if they want to show,
I don't need you to do no trash. I don't need you to do, you know what I mean, like the new age, you know what I mean, what we talking about, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need you to do nothing, you know what I mean? Financially, I don't need, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I got this.
Shoveling snow is physical exercise. She need exercise. See, why we depriving her of exercise? Because we being all macho trying to shovel the snow.
Right.
She can get out there and do some exercise.
I don't think you should deprive her, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part,
so if she
most times she ain't gonna want to do it, you know what I'm saying? Like
most times she ain't gonna want to.
Then it's like you're a man.
But that's
But if she wants to,
that's ego. Ego is a good thing. Like
if she wants to, let her go.
Even when I was divorced, even Pepper lived somewhere else. I prided myself. I'm gonna be a man. Forget. I ain't worried about her. I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna shovel her car. I'm gonna take care of it. Even though she's not living in my house, we estranged. I still took. That's ego, and ego sometimes serves a good purpose. I still felt pride that I need to shovel the mother of my children's car because I'm built for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's all ego. She could have got out there and shoveled it, but I wanted to feel like I wanted to feel.
But I would say it's not just ego though. I mean, it is some type of heart in it. Like you love her, you being considerate of her. I forget the word love. You can some people are motivated by love. You are considering her.
I'm earning her respect. I'm showing her my sacrifice by my offering of work. So how you say people respond to love and respect? Love is. I don't trust it no more.
Because your definition of love is limited to some romance stuff.
No, it's not.
Love ain't. Love is a.
What's your definition? Hold on. So what's your definition of love? I'm trying to.
Love to some respect is responsibility.
Okay.
But I think when most people talk about love, they talk about the emotion of love, the feeling of love. I'm talking about the obligation. There's certain kind of love I have an obligation to. You know what I mean? But in terms of he's saying I wanted to feel love, that's not why. I was not.
I
my
didn't say you wanted to feel love.
You did. You talk about when
no. I said there's some heart in it. You was doing out of love for her. I want to say. Okay. I didn't say nothing about you feeling love. I said you loving her. That's a loving act for her.
To me, you remember the movie Fences when Denzel Washington or what's his name? James Earl Jones was talking to the little boy about how he go to work and everything, and did his father.
I saw that clip, but I didn't watch the movie.
Yeah, he wasn't worried about his son liking him or loving him. He had a responsibility to him.
All right, but see, my definition of love ain't got nothing to do with like.
Right.
Love transcends likes and dislikes, preferences. Okay, that's not love. When I'm talking about love, I'm talking about a higher level of understanding. Whereas
you said consideration. So.
Yeah, consideration. To embrace, enhance, encourage, and allow. That's one of my definitions of love. Okay, but it's also like main thing is love is allowing one to be who they are and to be their best self on their journey. So I'm not going. It's not emotional attachment. That's not love. Emotional attachment is ego. I'm not loving someone so I can get the emotions like back to me. There, so that they can emote on me and make me feel love. I'm loving someone because I understand and in tune with a higher principle that what I do for you, I do for me because we one and the same in essence. So I ain't expecting nothing in return.
Okay.
So I ain't talking about that milk toast, tiptoeing through the tulips type love.
This has been a great discussion, and it's a lot more to talk about. And like I said, this is our first, first show. We gonna see, how this came out. But the superhero syndrome.
The perfect pressure, the pressure to be perfect.
So just real quick. I mean, because obviously inside of here, you see, I mean, inside this book, and some of the solutions that you think
Mm-hmm.
to help to solve some of the problems of what's
Mm-hmm.
going on in our community today. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I think that's where we'll be going at with this book. Now, talk about your all four of your books, and
Okay, I didn't bring the fourth one with me, but this is the superhero syndrome, and I have some solutions that I mentioned, but this is specifically called the superhero syndrome solution, which is the playbook, which I utilize the theme of football, and running plays that deal with cultivating manhood, and so for example, one of the plays you can run is called stand up, stand in it. Be accountable, not ashamed. Like if you done did something and people shaming you, they condemning you, or they trying to make you feel less than, just stand on your square, stand up and stand in it, take your lesson, don't run from it, and don't wallow in your shame. And I give you processes to go through. Some of it is
so when you
meditation.
say that, are you saying that like somebody just dropped a touchdown right in their hands? You know what I'm saying? Like boom, you
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody looking at it like, how you drop the ball? How you do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? And
Yeah, you
you know
gotta
what I
keep
mean?
your
And
head up
you know what I mean?
because
You
you
can
gotta be ready
now
for
if
the
you
next
fall a
play.
victim and just be like, you know what I mean? Man, I dropped that ball. You know what I'm saying? You just
Mm-hmm.
fall apart. You can drop some of the next ones that's coming up or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you just say, dang, I messed up? You know what I mean? Everybody mad at you, whatever. All right, that's
Mm-hmm.
okay. They be happy again once I catch this next one. You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So that's what you're speaking to.
Yeah, I'll give you an
Or
example.
you hold somebody online, you get called holding and
Mm-hmm.
whatever. You know what I mean? Because everybody individually makes
Don't let them
mistakes out
shame
there.
you. Yeah, but you gotta learn from them your mistake and do your best not to repeat it. But if you wallow in shame, it's gonna zap your energy and you're not gonna have your full resources and devices together to make the best decision in the next play. And the next play is the next life challenge, which we face several challenges every day, several crossroads to make the proper decision. So when your behavior, your decisions, or your integrity is in question, you'll run the play, stand up and stand in it. Or whenever you do something or have done something that you feel embarrassed or ashamed about, or when your choices or stances are unpopular to those who have opinions about you and about your choices and your stances, or when other people try to shame and embarrass you, or when you feel you have fallen short of expectations, whether those expectations were your own or other people's expectations of you. So then you run the play. And I just give you a brief example. Breathe deeply and rhythmically. Relax and get centered. Remember who you are and who you are not. And then, I do some creative stuff in here that you can go with. All right. And I'm not going to read all of it, but I give you some meditations and some affirmations and things to do it. And sometimes you have to refer back to this book. And see, what I like to do, because I got both of these books on Kindle. And so I pull out my phone and I just reference it, go in the table of contents. Like, okay, what situation I'm going through. All right. I need to run a play called the Nourisher, for example. You run that play when you need to cultivate your energy. Your energy is low. You done neglected yourself and you just drain from every day. And then you may have to do some things to nourish yourself. So then I tap into that particular chapter through the table of contents, and then I read off, okay, what's the play for the nourisher? Okay, I need to do this, need to do that, need to do that. So I'm running that play. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna be able to demonstrate this, at another time. You know,
Yeah, we want
more
we
thoroughly.
want to we want to put the links on uh for this book. Again, we in Tubman City. We got to support our authors. We got to support each other. We're gonna put the links up, put the links out, and then we're gonna actually really start to go into this and talk about this because we really need to make changes in our community, and we do have to get men doing men stuff
And I ain't
and
talking
women
about this
doing
third
woman
book.
stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to talk about that too.
Well, this was actually the first book, The Value System and Culture of the Raise Level Mandate. And this is what I'm charged with. The superhero syndrome was something creative that I wrote, but it's all based on the Raise Level Mandate. And the Raise Level Mandate is about transforming raising the value of life in the hearts and minds of the people, and to transform the human habit of death, destruction, and war into a habit of life enhancement, healing, and harmony. That's the mission statement for the Raise the Level Mandate. And I got 3 components in here: the now habit, the 11 values, and 11 social directives. And I talk about all of these, and these are strategies and ways for us to create our reality that we want to create instead of being caught up in this reality. It's about us taking charge of our life and taking full responsibility and accountability for what we create for us in this world. And so this is a good jewel. Pick this up as well.
No doubt. And so what we'll do as we have these talks, the real barbershop talks, we'll have Senbi come back and he would actually be signing books. So you can come get your copies here at the shop, live at the shop. We'll tell you what dates and all. Like I said, we're gonna be doing this every Wednesday or Thursday, sometimes maybe even both days. You know what I'm saying? That we'll have it, but one of those days, Wednesday or Thursday, we'll be back with you. And send us your email so that we can put your name on our email list. And so as we wrap up for the day, oh, you hold that up. Um, oh, okay. So as we wrap up, just in conclusion, do y'all have anything in conclusion? Because this is the first, like I said, these guys are gonna be here all the time talking. It's all these different topics that we talk about. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have, of course, we're gonna have the sisters, we're gonna have the brothers. I mean, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna have it all here. You know what I mean? This is just one segment of reality speaks and what we do. You know what I'm saying? This one segment right here, this the real barbershop talk. But go ahead, in conclusion, Brother Kamal, want to conclude for tonight?
Yeah, I mean, there are different ways, to do things, more than one way to get something done. And so we have to gravitate to what works for us and, be dedicated to self development and cultivation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, I just want to thank my big brother Kamal for always being a brother. Thank you, and thank my brother Jabari for doing this and having us here. Definitely.
No doubt, no doubt.
Yeah, big up to Reality Speaks, Soul Survivors Nation.
No doubt. 28 years celebration
Yay,
coming up.
yay.
Yes, sir.
Coming up. So y'all come out. So we love y'all and peace.
Peace.
Peace.